People are looking about the society from various aspects. What is your aspect? Do you think woman is an important role? In last Monday, we celebrated the Women's Day. There was various kind of celebrations in everywhere in Sri Lanka. And also, today we are ready to organize a special project according to the Women's Day. Okay. Today, Leo Club of Wickramasinghapura organized this project to discuss about this various kind of aspects which people have about women. Especially when we are talking about the Leo Club, this Wickramasinghapura Leo Club of Wickramasinghapura is one of the best Leo Club in District 306 C1, and also this Leo Club produced 5 district presidents and also 1 multiple district president. And also this is the oldest Leo Club in District 306 C1. Okay, now we are ready to start our program. First of all, I warmly welcome our 3 special guest speakers, Mr. Manjula Wijesundara, Managing Director, International Multiclean System Private Limited, and also he is one of past multiple district president in District 306 Sri Lanka, and also AIESEC International Regional Director for Asia Pacific Region, Regional Manager, Entity Development for Asia Pacific Region, President of AIESEC Sri Lanka in 2018-19, Mr. Isuru Premathilake, and also entrepreneur, lecturer, and award-winning news anchor and TV presenter, and also Managing Director, IES Private Limited, Ms. Bernadine Jayasinghe. I warmly welcome you 3, and also the club president and the executive board and all other members and every participant who are in here. I warmly welcome you all. Okay, let's start this program, and I'm gonna start this program from Mr. Manjula Wijesundara. Mr. Manjula Wijesundara. Okay. First of all, my questions are going to you, and very good evening to you.
Good evening.
Okay. We are talking about the business advancing women's economic empowerment. Okay. My first question is going to you, Mr. Manjula. What is meant by economic empowerment?
Hi, Leos and the guests. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to join this very important discussion. Well, the economic empowerment, like suppose empowerment, you take empowerment, it's like the self-determination of people, or even in the communities, or the responsibility to act their own authority. So if you add the economic part of it, is the capacity of men or women to participate or contribute or to benefit from a growth process. So especially if you talk more about it, it's like the people who gather the voices or the agencies, like the meaningful participation for the growth of the economy. So that's something that I can gather about the economic empowerment.
Okay, Mr. Manjula, my second question to you. Why is women's economic empowerment important for development?
The 75%, around 75% of the world's total unpaid care is undertaken by women. So this includes childcare, elders care, cooking, cleaning, and all that. So, of course, there's a lot of potential in women labor force, which is not identified by many countries or economies. So, example, like in some countries, there's forced labor for women. In some countries, there's gender violence. In some countries, there's human trafficking for women. So the women economic development is important because if we get solutions for these issues and create jobs, create entrepreneurship, give them a helping hand to develop themselves or to empower them, it will create a important for the economic development, the contribution of the female.
Okay, Mr. Manjula. Then I have a small question. Mr. Manjula, can you please explain what is the overall aspect? What is your explanation?
What do you mean by overall aspect?
Yeah, Mr. Manjula, some people is telling that people are thinking from different.
So I mean.
And if we talked about the Sri Lankan culture.
Yeah, I mean, if you suppose in certain ways, like in the past, most of the men taken care of the family and women taken care of taken care of the earning money to the family, and women have taken care of the kids and the household. That's how the even the Sri Lankan economy or Sri Lanka was in the way past during our grandfathers or the even before time. But of course, I think in general, when a mother take care of the kids, doesn't mean that that she's left behind and like she's doing an unpaid job or anything. But there's a big value that women do without even unpaid for the family. Example, even if I take my family, even like my father worked very hard to develop his business, whereas my mother took care of me and my sister. Because of her, my father could really concentrate on the work, and we came up in the ladder so high because he did not have to worry about us. But our part was done by my mother very well, which people don't see that economic the contribution to the economy, because she has given 2 kids well educated and who can take care of the rest of the career or rest of the business, which she couldn't have done if she was also working. So now there's a big, I mean, people think there's it's wrong that women are at home and taking care of the kids and not doing, they are not taken care of well. But of course, my father took care of her as a queen. So she has given everything that she wanted, and she's very happy now taking care of my kids also. So so that again depends on depends on smaller as family to family as well. So in certain families you can't, maybe mother and father both has to work because to provide the education and the health for the kids. So of course the kids are the future of the economy or even in the world. So therefore it's again, in my point of view, it's more like depends on culture to culture, or economic to economy, or even to family. That's my general view.
Okay, Mr. Manjula. Then my next question is to you: how to promote woman economic empowerment at work to responsible business conduct?
Since women are joining the workforce, these are promoting women empowerment and women entrepreneurship and women joining the workforce. And even in some countries, you can say, like in Finland, there is a whole bunch of ministers of well-educated female, and even in Sri Lanka, you can see a lot of CEOs. Even in the world, there are many recognized female who has come up in the ladder and holding very important positions in companies and even in the countries. In some cultures, there are a lot of barriers to women to work, like in Middle East. But in companies, now we use a lot of cross-functional teams to mix female and men together to help them to or guide female workforce to develop their confidence. And also we do workshop for skill development, especially targeting female employees, and encourage them to educate themselves regarding their specialty. So with these aspects, of course, we can develop the women workforce much better to be more productive. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Manjula. Then my last question, yes, I'm giving to you. How to build effective women's economic empowerment? How to build effective women's economic empowerment?
It's again related to your previous question. To build an effective economic empowerment. Sometimes, some people start their work in a great passion and they don't continue properly. So you really need to follow up with them and help them and guide them to reach the next level. And also you need to break the barriers, gender barriers in where you can help them to get into workforce. Now, if you take, and as you know, even in the Middle East, women are not really allowed to engage where men are. So there are taxis in Dubai for ladies only, driven by female drivers. Even in here, in Sri Lanka, there's a new taxi service started by a company, a female-driven taxi service, especially focusing on kids. So there are a lot of opportunities when you think that we can think of where women are really good at, and then try to help them to develop that. So if you see, even in fashion designing or even in the beauty care industry, a lot of women have been excel themselves than men. So we have to identify where their talents are, and then, of course, if you help them, then it will be more effective with the women economic empowerment.
Okay, Mr. Manjula, thank you very much. And next, I'm inviting Mr. Isuru Premathilake, who is the AIESEC International Regional Director for Asia Pacific region, and also Regional Manager, Entity Development for Asia Pacific region, and the President of AIESEC Sri Lanka 2018-2019. Ms. Isuru, good evening to you. And
Good evening.
now, now I'm going to ask some questions from you, and now my questions are to you. Ms. Isuru, we are talking about the gendering the COVID-19 pandemic with you. And my first question, how the COVID-19 crisis has affected women differently?
Okay, thank you, Tarushka, for the question, and thank you so much for the club for having me in here and giving me the opportunity to be here. I think this is a very interesting topic. I think this is something we should be talking about at this point right now, for sure. Before we move forward on talking about how it affected women differently, I think we should talk a little bit about what is gendering in COVID-19 pandemic as well, so that we'll have better context in understanding what are the effects, like implications that are coming in for the women specifically. So I think like with the COVID-19 pandemic that happening around the world, we all face this, all the countries, all the economies are facing this economic crisis, and we see different aspect of the community are being affected. So for sure, the gender equality or gender inequality that we should be trying to address for a couple of decades right now, to different aspect, like this is also one of the major area that been affected from the due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Like how it been affected, I think there are different aspects. I think we can talk about examples like paid jobs, like how the labor market is being affected. Labor market, like it's of course like with the economic crisis, that's the first place that's going to be get affected. But through that, how it affected differently on women. Of political representation, like because we saw like a lot of decision making that happening in the governance or like leadership bodies, that how the women representation has been affected in that. And then access to social security, access to facilities we're talking about, especially we have these different aspects where like women are being impacted on that. But I think like if we go a little bit deeper, so this with this context of gendering in COVID, if we go a little bit deeper and see like what exactly the areas that been affected for the women, I think first thing that we need to talk about is the labor market. So we saw like data suggests that the women's jobs are like more at risk compared to men's job or male jobs, that male dominating jobs or like industries. And we saw that they are losing many jobs that they already had, employment that they already had. For example, like if you compare in the market like India, they had like around 20% engagement or 20% employment coming from women, but it reduced to around like 17%. In a market like India, this is like a huge number. Like if you talk about the absolute value, we saw like even in the before the pandemic happened, around 39% of the global market or global employment was occupied by women. But out of that, around 54% of the jobs are being at risk, or they already lost their job due to the COVID pandemic. So I think this is a critical aspect. With this, like losing job, like losing this income, and I think this lead to other crises in the community. Example like how if you are, especially like if you are a single mother, or if you are like if you don't have a lot of income into the family, if you are in the if you are suffering from the poverty, like these kind of situations, I think like then they create like other impact to the families and the communities around them. So that is one aspect that we can look into, like in terms of how women being affected. I think another one that we can look into is like especially health and security, right? So this is being women being one thing is that we can talk about is like women. You can see like the frontline workers or the healthcare workers. It's a dominated field, dominated like a female dominated industry. You can see like a lot of female representation in this kind of employment, but we see like they are more exposed to this risk of COVID, right? So at the end of the day, so they do face this like health risk, they do face this like security, like in terms of especially their health, while dealing with the COVID. This does not only include this does not only include nurses, doctors, but it's also include midwives or like even the laundry or like even this kind of services, which is also we identify as like can be places where transmitting COVID. And we can talk about other aspect like the unpaid workers. I think Mr. Manjula also talked about it, unpaid working, increase of unpaid work with women has to stay at home and the school being closed down and the kids has to stay home. So as a mom, you have to take care of them. So the unpaid work has increased. Like I think in the South Asia region, or like if you talk about Africa region, like mostly you can say around 80 to 90% of the unpaid work are being carried out by women. So I think that is one of the another area that we need to look into, because when they focus on these unpaid work, they lose their time, they lose their like capacity to focus on the example for their job, or example like for learning a new skill that can help them in the COVID pandemic situation. So this is another area that's been affected. I think another thing that we need to talk about is like domestic violence and gender-based violence, because while most families being like, I think like one thing, the COVID is not only an economic problem or like health problem, it also affects people's stress or like mentality or like mental health, like has been a topic that we be talking in the past couple of months. But in the same time, people who are not getting the proper attention or proper care regarding the mental health, or like they are going through like a lot of stress situations, like women being in the home, they've been more exposed to domestic violences. So I think this is also another aspect that women are being like um, getting an adverse effect from COVID that we're not really seeing from overall perspective. So I think, yeah, this is what I think, how it been affected to women separate, especially.
Okay, Mr. Isuru, just now I got to know this is morning to you, and I said good evening. And yeah, Mr. Isuru, my second question is to you. My second question is, what are the emerging impact on women?
Okay. I think looking into the future, right? So there's this article, there's this research published by McKinsey, if you're interested in reading. They're talking about 3 different scenarios that can happen in the future in terms of gender inequality, right? So the first scenario is like we don't do anything. Like all these problems that we're talking about right now, if you're not taking any actions, if you're not very conscious about it, or like even the government, or like even these organizations who are working hard for the to create this balance in the society, if we push this action, if you're not acting right now, this can create one set of implications in the future. Like this can lead to a place of we because it took us long period of time to like start the discussion, start this conversation in the community, and like try to push for like equal salaries or equal benefits for the women, and like having this conversation. And if we don't act right now, we might easily lose this focus, easily deprioritize this topic, and we might be focusing on other things. Like, of course, other things are important. Like, I'm not saying they're not important, but this is also a topic that we should be talking about. So in the future, if you're not taking action right now, this can lead to an deprioritization of this topic globally and in the government level, or in the social, like overall globally. And then it might lead to a place of these actions that we took so far are need to either replicated or either created from scratch. And then we will go to a place that we don't have a lot of foundation to build on. So I think that is one of the major implications that we're looking right now. The second scenario that they're talking about is like we act immediately. This is the best case scenario that we can do right now, because if we start exploring, like with the COVID situation, like we talk about innovation, we talk about, I think this is also one aspect that we're talking about, innovation, adaptability, how we can adapt to the new normal. Like new normal has been a topic. With all this context, like how how's the new normal look like for gender equality? How's the new normal look like for women empowerment? Or like this kind of topic is another thing that we should be discussing on right now. So if we are pushing for innovation, I think this should happen in certain levels. One level can be like government level, or like in this in the global level. If we can, if they can push for like more research or more innovation toward this, or like exploring more ideas toward this, so that can be implemented in the overall countries. Like at least we can have an action plan for the countries to implement. This is an action plan for that. We can go ahead and implement for the women empowerment or gender equality. We can talk about there can be like other levels, example like in the university level or the school level, or like even in domestic level. If you are taking action, if you're creating this awareness among the people, then they will be more conscious about this situation that are happening around them, and they will be able to create better better society, better environment that we address these issues. And then third scenario that they're talking about is like, now we don't take action right now, but we take action later. So this actually can lead, this of course like action can lead to generating some results that can benefit for the gender equality, but the timeline can be delayed. So like I don't think that is also something that we should be looking right now. So looking into the future, what's upcoming, I think if we keep not talking about this, I think these kind of initiatives that we are taking right now, this should be taken more consistently, and we should be talking this topic more, and we should be having this discussion in terms of, even in terms of policy making, I would say, in the government level, so that these policies can support in terms of creating a better community for women, and we consciously address these issues that we are not seeing right now. So as long as we take that action, I think the future can be good. All these issues that we are talking about can be minimized. But if you're not, if you're delaying this action, that can lead to negative repercussions or negative consequences in the community for women. For example, example, like the best example that I can think about right now is like this skill development that required for women to adapt to the new normal, like, or like generally for everyone to adapt to the new normal. So the employment is going to be different, and then the labor market is going to be different, and then so you need this set of skills to go and adapt to that market, or go and be representing in that market. So like if women are not getting that opportunity to do it right now, then there will be like in the future they might not be able to get back into the labor market, or like they might not be able to enter the labor market, because we have not been prioritized their education, their skill development, and to adapt to the new normal. And they have been pushed to for this unpaid work, they have been pushed to like this social risk and health risk, and in that kind of context, I think the future can be a little bit or bit uncertain in for the gender equality topic that we're talking. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Isuru, then my next question is to you. My next question is, what is the impact of COVID-19 on gender inequality in labor market and also gender role attitudes? What is the impact of COVID-19 on them?
Okay. I think I talked a little bit about the impact of the labor market in terms of the how the jobs are at risk, and how the how this the certain that we were. I think like one thing that we, when we're going through the data and when we're going through the information, something that I realized is that we were not prepared for for this situation right now, because with the global pandemic, we are seeing people losing job, like they don't women, even before the pandemic, like women were earning less, and they could save less, and they had less access to social security, and which make them more vulnerable to this kind of economic shock, like which is going through right now. So like when we reach the pandemic level, it is inevitable that women had to face more they had to absorb more risk, or like they are going through separate, like they're going through a crisis situation, and which we didn't really we were not prepared for. So I think that is one aspect that we need to be looking into. And I think like another thing that we can think about is like one thing that comes to my mind is like how this unequal distribution of workforce, because some industries are more dominant by female, some industries are more dominant by male, and this in this kind of situation, I think the saddest thing is that the people who get the female dominated industries are being at risk a lot due to the COVID pandemic situation, and they might be facing the issues of how they can, what is the next action step that they can take, or like what is the next step that going to be for them. So I think this is one of the major challenge that I'm seeing right now in terms of the in terms of especially for the labor market. And yeah, I think so yeah, I think in terms of this, like I think that is we've been talking about like how sorry, how the policy making or how the environment can be shaped so that either like women can come back, or like either women can come back to the market, or like either women can still contribute like while managing their other role as well. I think like something that you talk about like gender roles, like I think we are still in the position of we are trying to eradicate this idea of like gender roles, like what is the like there are specific roles for like specific genders, like in terms of that. But I don't think we reach to a point of like, oh, we completely taken it out, which leads to other problems that you're facing right now. Because example, like if we talk about unpaid work, and women have to focus more on unpaid work because that has become a social norm. Okay, this is the role of women. And example, like if you go to the if you think about your own house, maybe like as a assumption, your mom has to cook, like your sister has the one who's to like wash the dishes after cooking. And I think this kind of even one thing is that they even from women's perspective, they accept that and they try to move forward without seeing the, oh, this is actually an issue, like we need to be talking about this is not normal, like this is not something that that should be there, you know, like that is the I think the most saddest thing that, and I think that's why we need to create this awareness, especially in women, especially I think we should start from schools, school kids, and we can create this belief, we can create this perspective. So the gender roles, and like I think this is where we can easily start about talking about gender roles. And then we can try to we don't have to separate, like we can talk more equal way, and that can create a better future in better generation in the future. So I think like, yeah, this is how the labor market I'm seeing right now, and right now what is happening, and how the gender roles are being perceived. I think in the future, like, yes, again, like we come to a place of like we take action and push for that. Then again, only that we'll be able to have a better community or more equal community in the future.
Okay, Mr. Isuru, do you believe in future we can make a equal community in Sri Lanka and in the world, especially in Sri Lanka?
I mean, that's the dream, right? Like it should be the dream. And yes, of course, if you ask me, I'm an optimistic person, like, and like I believe, of course, like there will be a day that we'll be talking about this. I think we do take more discussions, we do have more conversations regarding this right now in the global level. But I think in the Sri Lankan context, like I think it's a little bit we're a little bit behind, but I don't think we are not that far behind. Of course, like we do have this conversation, and like I think when it comes to the different generations, we see like while the generations are evolving, while the generations are coming into the picture, they do take more these kind of issues more seriously, and then we do drive more discussion. But I think we need to think about in a way of like how this message can be spread in all levels, because sometimes we don't really see we are like more focused into a specific market or a specific area or specific demography of people, and we try to address their concerns, but this is not solving everyone's concerns. But yes, but it should be different responsibilities. Like not one person will be able to do it for sure. This should be a combination of government, this should be a private and NGOs and all these like social organizations, like and even these education institutes. Like we all should come together if you want to solve this issue in the future. But yeah, of course, like I think if we keep driving the discussion, if we keep having this conversation going on in the community, we'll be able to reach this point where we can see and yeah, better future.
Okay, Mr. Isuru, thank you very much. Especially Mr. Manjula Wijesundara and also Mr. Isuru Premathilake, you both joined with a tight schedule. And also, Mr. Isuru, we know about the time changes, and I think it's around 12 hours time duration. And especially, thank you very much to you joining with us. And next, I'm going to hand over our conversation, our project to Ms. Bernadine Jayasinghe, who is a managing director in AIESEC Private Limited and also entrepreneur, lecturer, and award-winning news and TV presenter. Ms. Bernadine Jayasinghe, now this session is to you.
Thank you very much, Tanushka. A very good evening to everyone. I would love to see some energy from your side as well. So you can say hi, you can say good evening, or whatever you would like to type on the chat box. You can use the chat box and just say hi, or just a smiley face, so I can see some energy. Come on, I want every single person just to type something. Fantastic. Really nice to see the energy from your side. So I didn't want to switch on my camera because I kind of look like a ghost right here because I'm in the middle of the road and not much light here. So I'll not switch on my camera and scare you. So I just want you to feel free and just ask me any questions that you want to ask me to clarify or get to know anything like in regard of this topic today as well. The reason is I think you've listened to me quite a few times. You've listened to my stories, so I will not go on talking about myself. But one thing that while I was listening to the previous speaker, like while parking my car, I don't know where right now. I'm just coming from Kandy to Colombo. So what I want to tell you is that we really need to start developing ourselves, because if we develop ourselves, we develop our home, and when we develop ourselves, our home, our company, our university, everything starts developing. And when our home, when our company starts developing, and when our university starts developing, when your club starts developing, naturally the whole industry, the district starts developing. And when the districts and the whole industry starts developing, the whole nation starts developing. And when the nation starts developing, all of us will be able to live in a developed, fantastic, wonderful world. And today we're talking about Women's Day, women's right, and all these things. But one little thing that I want to tell you, whether you're a boy, whether you're a girl, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, or whatever your identity is, doesn't matter when it comes to work. If you have the will, if you have the want, if you have the passion, and if you're ready to work hard. Because what I believe is when we look at a particular person, we have to look at that particular person as a human. And especially when we look at ourselves, we need to look at ourselves in a way as a human. We don't have to question ourselves whether we are a girl or a woman or a whatever to do something. I know it's not easy because when it comes to different industries, People will question, people will come up with certain things, even people might laugh at you, and people might even ask you, how do you survive in an industry like that? And sometimes, even if you say what your job role is, and if not many women are in that industry, they can even question you, really? But then, as women, we need to be very strong to face anything if we really want to succeed and develop ourselves. Now, because there are so many boys and men and women and girls in this audience as well, I'll just make it a bit of a open conversation. I want to ask you, how many of you want to be successful? If you want to be successful, quickly type yes on live FB or on this chat box on Zoom. If you want to be successful, just type yes on the Zoom chat box or on FB Live. Fantastic, lovely. I love the energy. And if you want to be happy, again, I want you to type yes on the chat box. So it's fantastic to see a lot of yes on this chat box. So what I want to tell you is, at the end of the day, all of us want to be successful. All of us want to be happy in our lives. So what we really need to ask ourselves is, what do we really need to do to be happy and successful in our lives? And I think number one is we need to start loving ourselves. Because if we don't love ourselves, if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't trust ourselves, who on earth is going to, trust you or believe you? And if someone comes and give you an opportunity, if you give like a confused face, even if you're the best in the industry, even the person who's giving you the opportunity might wonder, if you're not sure of what you can do, how can they trust you to give that job to you? The biggest problem I see in Asia, especially in Sri Lanka, is that we kind of label ourselves, we are very good at labeling ourselves. Sometimes we think, okay, I'm not good in English, mata English bad. My pronunciation is not that great. Mage grammar harin hai. Mam present karna vidya harin hai. And then what you do is you quickly take one step back. Then there's another set of people who will say, you know what, I don't look great. The other people, they have a great personality. Industry project they have a better industry. So then you keep one step back. And another set of people, they will think that they are not the classy set of people, or they're financially not stable, or maybe they're going through a difficult time. So again, they keep one step back. Another set of people, they're not sure whether they are talented enough or not, because they don't know how to measure their talent, so they keep one step back. And again, especially sometimes, there's a big question mark or big statement which comes up. Sometimes you think, okay, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, like, I'm not sure whether a girl can do this. Maybe it's a bit tough industry, or make up a very way. I need help from another particular person. Again, you keep one step back. If you agree, just say agree on the chat box. And if you disagree, definitely say disagree on the chat box. Because I would love to hear from you. You're all above 18 and you know what is right and wrong. Just type agree on the chat box if you agree. If you disagree, you can say disagree, so we can discuss on it. I'm not talking about only you. I'm talking about like the whole norm, the whole situation which happens when we go from university to university. I've been like, my story, right? When I was 18, I wanted to start my academy, and then I didn't know the real meaning of who an entrepreneur is. But then the only thing I knew was I wanted to be successful, and at that time, success was showed to me, or what I understood what success means, is by having my own thing according to my understanding at that time. And the only company or only place I always see was a academy and an institute or a school. So I always wanted to have one. And one. And was not easy at all. There were so many people who used to laugh at me. My relatives thought that I'm crazy, and most of the people thought that I'm going to mess my life. And it's amazing how a lot of people questioned me. More than questioning me, I think a lot of people laughed at me. A lot of people, wanted to see me, fall down. And what I believe is, if you have a passion, if you have a dream, if you have a want and a need to succeed, there's nothing impossible. The only thing that you need to have is the confidence, the trust in you, the belief in you, and the belief that so I want you to really work on it. So today you have a little bit of homework. The homework is you need to do a SWOT analysis for yourself. You need to figure out what are the strengths you have, what are the weaknesses you have, what are the opportunities you have, what are the threats you have. And if you have strengths, especially you need to figure out how to invest in your strengths and how you can develop, how you can polish it more, how you can go to national level, how you can go to international level. Because most Sri Lankans, we are amazing. We have so much of talent. But what happens is we try to use that energy, what we have and the talent, but we don't invest time to develop on our skills. We don't invest time to develop on the strengths we have. So we are always stagnant. We are always at the same place. So what really needs to be done is, if you know that you're talented and you have a particular strength, you have to start working on it. And if you know that you have weaknesses or things that you need to improve, you need to have a mentor, a lecturer, talk to a loved one, a trust one, someone that you can trust and get some proper evaluation. And then you really need to see how you can actually work on yourself and start developing yourself. That's something really important. And see, it's easy for me to say and it's hard for you to do, right? මට ලේසියෙන් කියන්න පුළුවන් එහෙම නෙවෙයි, ඔයා බය නැතුව කොහෙට හරි ගිහලා ස්පීච් එකක් කරන්න, ඔයා බය නැතුව බිස්නස් එකක් පටන් ගන්න, ඔයා බය නැතුව අද ඉඳන් මේක කරන්න කියලා මට කියන්න ලේසි. But it's easy for me to say, but it's hard for you to do. If you agree, say yes on the chat box. Fantastic. It is, because it's definitely like, I can just say it, but when you go and start doing that, only you really figure out how tough it is, how much things that you have to face. Sometimes like if you are to do a presentation, to go in front of an audience and to do it, if you mess it up, everyone's going to laugh at you. So what I want you to understand is, failing, I think there's no one on this planet who exists who haven't failed in their lives. If when I started with 6 chairs and 1 whiteboard, I had all the confidence, the trust in me, but that's not enough, right? You have to have that consistency. You have to have that courage when you fail and fall, that you will not give up. That's the most important thing. And one reality, truth is, ඒ වැටිච්ච වෙලාවල් වලදී අපි හැමතිස්සෙම අපිට නැගිටින්න හයිය තිබුණා කියන එක, sometimes it's a lie. Because what happens is, sometimes we have the courage to get up alone, but sometimes we need people who will push us. Sometimes we need to have people in our lives who see the real value in ourselves and motivate ourselves as well. Because අපේ human body එක කියන්නේ, we also need fuel. Like a vehicle needs fuel, our motivation is something that we need to continuously have for us, to keep motivating whatever position you reach. So very long story short, I think 2 years to 3 years I was not a great entrepreneur or like a trainer. I would say, I would like to call myself trainer or a lecturer. Was not great at all. Like 2 to 3 years, it was a very tough journey. I kind of lost a lot of money. I lost many opportunities. I kind of messed up. When I started doing training only, I understood courage is not the only thing that you need. Confidence is not the only thing that you need, but you need that to start. The start is the most important thing. After you start, when you go on, you understand you need knowledge, you need experience, you need networking, you need PR skills, you need human qualities. And most importantly, something I really believe in is that at the end of the day, you really need to have some great values in you. You have to have good ethics in you. You have to have great qualities, I would say. Because at the end of the day, what you will have in life is who you are. And I believe success is something that you need to define what success means to you. Please don't define what success means to you according to Google, according to society, according to your neighbor, according to your friend, according to your relatives. You need to take a piece of paper and a pen, or take your phone and open your notepad and type what success means to you. Is it something materialistic that you want? That's fine. That's your definition for success. Some people, family is success. Some people, their passion is success. Some people, art is success. Some people, having a very comfortable life is success. And some people, having a good sleep is success. You need to define what success means to you. And then, most importantly, you need to define what happiness means to you. We're born to this world for a purpose, one. Secondly, life is very short, and you should be the author of your life. I've been telling this story so many times, I'll just make it very quick. There are more than 7 billion stories in the world, and out of those 7 billion stories, there are more than 21 million stories. And out of those 21 million stories, your story is one. And why do I keep repeating this? Is to remind you that your story is one. And you've been listening to the speakers today, and all of them have their own little story, and all of them have a great weight to their name. From Manjula and from Isuru to from every single person existing on this planet, every single person has their own story, including Obama, like Barack Obama, to Richard Branson, to Steve Jobs, to anyone. I see some names on, like here on Zoom, see Natasha, to Chamodi, to Sasini, to Dumitri. All of you have your own story. The thing is, please see the value in you and see what kind of an impact that you can make to your university, to your company, to the nation, to the world, to the whole society. Because if you really look into the women or the men who have changed this world, who have made a huge impact to this world, every single human are similar to us. The only difference is that they worked on themselves, they worked hard, and they continuously worked hard. See, one thing I want to tell you is I always say there's nothing impossible. If you agree, just say yes on the chat box. If we lie, you can just drop a message saying yes. And on Zoom, you can just say yes on the chat box if you agree with the statement of there's nothing impossible if you really want to succeed. Fantastic. So everyone agrees. But I want you to understand when there's, a lot of people say there's nothing impossible. But ඇත්තටම අපි කරන්න යනකොට we really understand that it's so hard, right? So I just want to give you a little bit of clarity. When it comes to motivation, we have to be very careful. If someone comes and says there's nothing impossible, if you want to fly, you can fly. කියලා කන්ද කුඩට නැගලා yes, I can do anything, I can fly කියලා කන්දෙන් පහළට පැන්නොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? You go hit your head on the ground, and definitely you'll fly to heaven. So that doesn't mean that you climb a mountain and you want to fly and you think that there's nothing impossible and you jump off it and see how you can fly. But ethaniin man kiyanne that you can't fly high. See, the twist is there's nothing impossible kiyanne. See, you can use an aeroplane to fly. You can use the helicopter to fly. You can use many methods to fly. You can do skydiving. And there are so many ways of you can use those equipments and tools and experience flying. But at the Katava, the true story is that even those equipments, tools, and facilities are available, right? The airplanes are available. That doesn't mean අපිට කැමති වෙලාවට කැමති විදිහට එකපාරටදී අපිට ලැබෙනවා කියන එක. See, you need a pilot to help you to fly it. So that means we need help from others. We need to learn from others. And we need to sometimes, invest in those. And secondly, if we are going to use those, even skydiving, like even though there's a person to guide you, still there's a lot of learning before you jump off that plane. Similarly, in real life, if you want to be an entrepreneur, definitely you can be an entrepreneur, but you need to study some role models. You have to study how people have conquered, what are the challenges that people have gone through, how they overcame those, what qualifications they have, and what are the new ways that you can go conquer. And again, how you can innovate, how you can be creative, how you can be, someone like, something that you can do something in a different way. And again, how you can make a different like impact. And similarly, like another way is that if you want to be a great say, say great chairman or anything, a human, a great citizen, a great politician, you need to do the proper groundwork, like proper homework, and see how you can make a difference and how you can differentiate yourself from others. And just the equation, a quick one that I'll give you is that this is something I really believe in. The equation is effective communication equals productive relationship. Always make sure that you really remember this particular equation, because if you effectively communicate with someone, you'll be able to have a productive relationship. So always remember that equation, and you'll definitely be able to fly high in life. So just to quickly wrap up my little story, so I started with 6 chairs and one whiteboard, and I still remember when I started training, there was a particular person who said, Bernadine, like when you do training, there won't be anyone who's going to listen to you. Because in Sri Lanka, if you're supposed to be a respected lecturer, a respected trainer, or like someone who will be respected, or at least people willing to listen to you, you'll at least have to be 30, or late 20s, or like you at least have to be 30s, that you can conquer. But what I can tell you is, if I believe them, I'll still have to sit and wait till I turn 30. Right now, by now, I've done training for more than 50,000 people, from Sri Lanka to India to I was one of the speakers at the Dubai Women Empowerment Summit in 2018. And the list goes on. And thanks to pandemic, I was able to do for crowds from Nepal to Bangladesh to UK to so many other countries. Calculating it for more than 50,000 people. And if you take Sri Lanka, we've been doing training for the leading companies, including from say military to doctors to leading companies as well. So why am I saying this is not to say that what I did it, but simply I want to say I was such an amateur, such a little girl who was like not sure of anything. I was not sure of like what I should do at a particular moment. But the only thing that would change my life was confidence, the trust, and to be very honest with you, I think one main thing was that I had a really burning urge and a need to, succeed. And I would call that passion. I really wanted to do what I love, and I wanted to love what I do. And again, I want to tell you, start loving what you do. If you're doing something, do it with a lot of love and passion. And whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a official relationship, or whether it's work, or whether it's your own company, or whatever you do, always remember it's very important to have great values. The trust is very important. Ethics is very important. And most importantly, I believe that we can change the world with love. You can love your work. You can love your friend. You can love your stranger. I think we really need to inculcate that beautiful quality in us, and we have to bring it out and share with everyone. And I think that quality really helped me, because how I came to the industry is also because I loved helping a lot of people. And at the end of the day, it became my profession as well. So I'll open this forum for you to ask me any questions that you have. I'm just making it very quick. If I switch on my video, you can see it's like pitch dark. You can see me. I can't even see myself because I can see the vehicles moving. Yeah, but still, I think keeping the word is also very important. Whatever the challenges you're facing, I had to, I because of a like different reason, I'm traveling from Kandy to Colombo, but still keep a word. you have to keep that word as well. I think that's one thing that the new generation also have to remember and work on as well. And things doesn't happen overnight. I think now a lot of people, when we talk, they want things overnight. Even I wanted that overnight. You know, when I started this particular academy, I wanted it to be a success overnight. So, but then, you know, after I started only, I realized, oh my God, you need to be financially stable. You need experience and networking and all these things. And then only I started joining the corporate world. So when I joined, to be very honest, I joined the corporate sector thinking that, okay, I'm okay, 6 months is enough for me to earn the money I want and to get the experience I want and the networking done. So honestly, it took me 4.5 years to properly get financially stable and get the proper experience and the knowledge. So, Matakatyagan, it's always, you should not put both your legs to the river to test the waters. It should always be one leg at one place and the other. Then only you can be, when you're sure of your business or whatever you're doing, then you can take both your legs and, you know, then you're stable at one place. Similarly, I told myself, I'll resign from this particular company when I'm 100% sure that I can make at least 4 times more than what I'm earning now, and that I'm sure that I'm stable for 10 years. And to be that stable, it took me 4.5 years. And during that time, I know we always complain about time, we don't have time, but at this age is a time that you need to really work on yourself, because no pain, no gain. You know, I used to have a very less number of hours of sleep, but then with all that hard work, I did my master's, my MBA, and my other qualifications, and all the extracurricular activities on earth. And again, why am I saying this is because it's not going to be easy at all. There might be nights that you go home and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Oh my goodness, and all. But then you really earn it and you really be happy, you know, with time. So මං සිංහලෙන් කියනවා නම් පුළුවන් කාලේ පුළුවන් උපරිම විදියට පුළුවන් විදියට develop කරගන්න. That's very very important, right? ඒ කියන්නේ කරන්න පුළුවන් කාලේ පුළුවන් තරම් මහන්සි වෙලා තමුන්ව develop කරගන්න. Investment in yourself is the best investment that you can make. So I think that's something I believe then. මගේ life එකත් my gosh, it's like always on the go. But I know when I should take a rest. I know when I should take a break. That's also very important. But always remember, love is very important, family is very important. That is something really really important. So maybe any questions that you all have. By the way, if you want like a 1 minute like a breathing exercise, like a small motivation exercise, say yes on the chat box. Okay, I'm going to put that. I hope my connection is stable. And with that, we are going to wind it up. And if you have any questions, do feel free to connect with me. And in any way, I'll be very happy to support you. I just made it a very, very quick one. As you can see, I'm in pitch dark right now. Okay, so I'm going to play the video. And yes, so how this works is this is called box breathing. This is... Okay, that's great. So I'm going to tell you what this box breathing is. It's a very interesting exercise that you can do it every morning. This increases the focus. You'll be able to focus more, make really good decisions, and it will be very helpful for you. So how it works is you take a deep breath and you hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. You take a deep breath in the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold your breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you let go your breath 1, 2, 3, 4. හුස්ම යවුවට පස්සේ හුස්ම ගන්න එපා 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you let go your breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you don't breathe 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? The video will guide you. You can actually do that. So just feel relaxed, take a nice breath and follow the video. All right, I'm going to share my screen. You can start now. All right, so that's exercise that you can all do. That's called box breathing. Box breathing, 1 minute. All right, I'll type it on the chat box as well. So every morning, wake up, have a glass of water. Don't eat or drink or do anything for 45 minutes. You know, that time relax and, you know, study or walk or exercise or wash or whatever. After 45 minutes, then you can eat. That's called water therapy to help you to you know, cleanse your body, and you know, you can do this meditation as well. This is more than a meditation. It's about decision making, you know, focus and certain things. It's a long story. Even this, you know, the people who go to, you know, those cut that wire, like the bomb thingy, you know, sometimes they kind of watch this as well, according to internet. So you can do this, and I'll type it on the chat box so you can use the link as well. And finally, girls, Sri Lankans, everyone out there, something that I believe jealousy is something that we really need to throw away. So we need to throw away the word jealousy. Jealousy hinda tamai api godakkai pitipasthenne. Why we can't move forward, why we are not helping our Sri Lankans to do international is also jealousy. So we need to cut jealousy from our vocabulary. We have to be satisfied seeing other people's success and happiness. So something I feel is we can't be content, we can't be happy for other people's success and happiness. So, and the truth is, we can't be happy and successful everybody. We will have hard times, bad times, good times, and amazing times. So how we can be happy and successful all the time is if we can be happy by seeing our also success. We can see success by seeing our also success. That's the way that we can be happy and successful. Every single day, we will be able to see content in life. So, my amazing people, please, you know, achieve your dreams and goals. I'm waiting to hear your story because your story is unique, amazing, and wonderful. So keep flying high and keep smiling. Over to you. And if you'll have any questions, feel free to, you know, ask me. And I wish I'll be able to see you all one day very soon. All the best. Organizing committee, over to you. And by the way, if you're having questions, you can shoot it to me on LinkedIn or on Facebook. I'm just going to start driving back to Colombo. So I'm going to leave right now. And once again, thank you very much for having me. And thank you for the motivation from your side. And keep conquering. And
on behalf of Leo Club of Wickramasinghapura, I would like to thank Ms. Bernadine Jayasinghe for sparing your valuable time to connect with us and encouraging us. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Okay, today we heard to our three lecturers, three guest speakers, and thank you very much, all of you. You gave your valuable time to us, especially we know you joined with us with your tight schedule. Then thank you very much, all of you. And today we are going to stop our session. And again, we hope to organize a valuable project like this. Then good night to all of you.